Hello, hello, it's Patty Jo. How are you? Okay, picking up where we left off. It's a gloomy, icky day outside. Picking up where we left off, we are on day 10. It looks like about 2/3 of the way through. And I stopped it on a break. So let's see how long it goes. Oh, it goes a while. Okay, so here, let's skip forward. Yes, I could do this.
Here, I spoke with the defendant about his witnesses for tomorrow, and I believe he's filling out the paper that I asked him to so we can get his witnesses here. I can tell the court this. I have 2 crime lab analysts to testify yet this afternoon. They're both here. One's, the next one is from the Milwaukee lab. The second one's from the Madison lab. So if we could complete their testimony today, it would be greatly appreciated. I don't know how late you intend to go today or how long it will take, but I'm being optimistic.
Okay, so she is not hiding or gatekeeping her order or anything. I guess it's not something that you would necessarily like publish out to, but her list of witnesses, they were given to him. In fact, that is how, by the way, I hear that he picked his witnesses. Okay, so they give a list of witnesses, right? And then off the list, they narrow it down or, make it more efficient or check off people that they're decided not to have testify or that don't want to testify or whatever it is, and then give him back the list of the new witnesses, their new witness list, their confirmed one, and he takes the excess people, the people that are now not testifying, and that's how he makes a lot of his witnesses. That's who he subpoenas. Now, one in particular is the gentleman who needed the interpreter. Likely they had, not likely, obviously, they had somebody from that group who spoke better English and didn't require an interpreter. That would cost the court money and give the same testimony. So instead of having both people testify, they had just the one that didn't cost the money and could speak the English and, give the jury the information without a middle person. But then Darrell, he puts the guy on his list. So then that's how we end up with that witness that went out of turn. So, and when we get to his witnesses, it's crazy. But as you can, she's not gatekeeping. Okay, I'll shut up.
Our final witness would be a recall of Detective Casey briefly for some follow-up matters. And then we would be in a position to rest. I don't hold out hope that we'll probably be able to rest yet this evening, but maybe, depending on how late you go and how smooth things move along.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that information, and I appreciate the parties discussing.
How smooth things move along means is Darrell going to have humongous tantrums that are going to cost us hours of time. Ugh.
Off the record, some of the issues related to the defense witnesses, so that's great to hear. I can go a little bit later tonight, and I would say no later than 6, but if need be, if we can get through those 2 witnesses and Detective Casey, that would be great. But let's see how we go.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sir, did you have anything?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Detective Casey already testified. What would be the significance of him testifying again?
Well, let's take that.
All right, so basically, the way I see it, and tell me in the comments if you see it any differently. The way the state, they had many options of the way they were going to lay out their case, but the way they laid it out was chronologically. Okay, they could have done it by the video and then witnesses and then victims, or they did it chronologically, which means they started with the fight with Erica, moving, actually they started, can't remember, with the one-way street and the pulling into the gas station and having an argument with that other gentleman went in the fight, but there was that, and then he moved on to the actual parade route and running through the police barricades and things like that, and then the obvious, terrorizing of the whole community with the casualties, and then moving on further to the destruction of property and dumping of the vehicle, and then running through and terrorizing some more with his goblin self. Okay, so they went chronologically. So as they're going chronologically, they put in expert witnesses where they made sense. So Detective Casey, who had been at the early part of the parade, actually made contact with the vehicle, did some investigation work. That part of his testimony is separate from this part coming last, which is some expert testimony coming off the back and finalizing the back. That is how I see this. But he's not very identified, and they could have asked the questions, and it's not efficient. Efficient? Shut up, Darrell. That would be efficient. You goblin.
Up later, I want to deal with the lab analysts who are here first and not delay their testimony any further. So, other than that issue, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I thought he was released from his subpoena. At least that was my guess.
I honestly don't recall whether that question was asked of me. I know he's the court officer and he's been here. I'd have to take a look at the record from when he testified and see if there was any reservation, or have the state make an offer of proof, and we can go from there, but I'm not going to do that right now. I want to have those lab analysts testify. They're here, and we can take up more fully the issue with Detective Casey after they're done testifying.
So how late do we plan on going?
I will go as late as 6 o'clock if need be. So I want to keep pushing along. I want to.
Oh, Darrell.
That's definitely pushing it here.
Is that inconvenient for you, Darrell? Do you have some goblin things to do in the jail? Do you have to research some Sit stuff? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's not that late, sir. We've stayed till 5:36. Previously, there were times during jury selection we stayed till probably 7 or 7:30. The last 2 nights we did break at about 4:30, 4:45, and so I'm willing to go a little bit later tonight. So it's 3:30 now. We'll see how things go.
I was making that for saying that on the record because in my position that is kind of late.
Well, let's start now and we'll get going, and maybe we don't have to go that late. So bring the jury out.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
The written decision that I previously entered is what I will stand on. I'm not going to address it any further.
Is that verified proof?
Yes.
Sir, my written decision is the decision on subject matter jurisdiction.
Is it verified proof? Because it hasn't been proven on the record, and that was not verified proof. It has yet to be proven.
I am denying the request by the defendant to verify subject matter jurisdiction. That's denied.
It has to be proven for the record.
I disagree with you as a matter of law. The jury's coming out.
Show me lawful law.
All rise for the jury.
Show me by lawful law.
Lawful law.
Unless you make an tacit agreement that you don't have to prove subject matter jurisdiction on the record by law.
Are we
All
going to
right, welcome back,
massacre?
ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It's about 3:37. I know you're all filing in, so I'll wait till you all get in.
Not yet.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the rest of you who are filing in after our short afternoon break. I just wanted to let everyone know I have let the parties know if need be. I'm willing to stay between 5:30 and 6 this evening. I know there's 2 witnesses for sure the state intends to call, and I intend to get through. It's kind of the timing and whether there's a 3rd witness tonight or not. I'll decide a little bit later, but at this point, the state may call its next witness, and the rest of you may be seated, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Chris Johnson.
All right, Mr. Johnson, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
My name is Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm employed as the Chief of the Office of Crime Scene Response for the Division of Forensic Sciences, Wisconsin State Crime Laboratories.
Okay.
What is your educational background and training briefly?
I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in molecular biology from Marquette University. I started my career approximately 16 years ago in the DNA analysis unit as a forensic scientist. As a forensic scientist, I went through an extensive training program to be a DNA analyst, and I've carried many positions since then.
And as chief of the crime response unit, what are your duties and responsibilities?
My duties are twofold. I have an administrative aspect and a technical aspect. The administrative aspect is to oversee and monitor all operations or all aspects of the crime scene response program operations. My technical aspects come into play when I receive calls from law enforcement to respond to scenes to provide technical assistance. My primary duty as the technical aspect is to preserve the integrity of the evidence at crime scenes. This is done through proper examination, recognition, documentation, and collection of physical items of evidence. Furthermore, another technical aspect I have is to write confidential reports of findings, and this basically summarizes any examinations and processing techniques that are used on scene and is a summary of the findings from those techniques. Lastly, I testify in court when needed.
Is there a set procedure you follow when you are asked to respond to a crime scene?
Yes.
What is that, please?
Judge leading.
Overrule the witness to answer.
If law enforcement is at the scene and would like the crime lab crime scene response team to respond, they simply call the lab that's in their jurisdiction, and basically the call will get routed to me and I'll dispatch a team to the scene.
And on November 21 of 2021, was the crime scene response unit asked to respond to an incident in the city of Waukesha, county of Waukesha, state of Wisconsin?
Yes.
What was the nature of the call?
The nature of the call was to respond to an address on Maple Street to begin processing a vehicle that was abandoned in the driveway of that residence.
Were you given any limited information as to the significance of the vehicle?
Yes, it was reported to me that the vehicle was more than likely involved in running through the Waukesha Christmas parade.
Were you aware that it was reported pedestrians had been struck during the event?
Yes, that was reported.
The objection is noted. I'll allow it as it is foundational. The witness may answer.
Yes.
Now, when I think of a crime scene, I typically think of a place or a location. Does your unit also cover processing of a vehicle like this?
Yes, in this
Overruled. You may answer.
in this particular circumstance or situation, the vehicle itself can be considered a crime scene in and of itself.
And in your years with the crime lab, do you have prior experience processing motor vehicles that were suspected to have been involved in fatal collisions with pedestrians?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes, I've processed several vehicles related to that.
Okay. Did you personally respond to the address at 338 Maple?
Yes, I was one of 2 people responding.
Who else responded?
Julie Avila.
And does Julie work with you?
She does.
What's her task or primary responsibility?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
For this particular scene, I was what is called the team leader, so I'm in charge of all aspects of processing the scene. Julie was a crime scene response photographer, so she was tasked with appropriate documentation via photographs.
Okay. Do you recall about what time it was when you arrived on scene?
I arrived on scene approximately at 8:15 p.m. on 11/21/21.
And I'd like to show you a series of photographs, and I'm going to have multiple sets of photographs to go through with you. This is the first set, and the set contains 4 or 5 pictures. So they're going to show up on your screen first, sir, and I'm going to ask you to identify these photographs, and then we'll work backwards and present them to the jury with the court's permission, okay?
Okay.
So first on the screen is Exhibit 67, which I believe was previously admitted? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Objection.
Overruled.
Sir, do you recognize the objects depicted in State's Exhibit 67?
Yes, this is a overview showing the front end damage of the red
Can't wait to
Ford
see this.
Escape that's parked in the driveway of 338 Maple
Okay.
Avenue.
Next, we're going to present to you Exhibit 93.
Oh, they're going over. Boring.
What's depicted in 93, please?
This is a close-up showing the damage of the front end of the vehicle, the red Ford Escape that's parked in that driveway.
All right. I should have asked you this. Prior to the photographing of the vehicle, has it been moved or altered by you in any way, sir?
No.
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
It's not even
No.
leading.
Please put up for the witness number 68, which has been previously admitted.
Go ahead.
Objection.
Overruled.
Please describe, sir.
This is the photograph's taken at an angle, the front passenger side of the vehicle, but again showing the damage of the front end of the vehicle.
Number 102. You recognize that photo, sir?
I do.
Please describe.
This is
Objection.
Overruled.
a mid-range photograph of the driver front quarter panel showing a side view of the damage of the hood and the quarter panel.
And number 103. Please describe.
This is a overall photograph of the back end of the red Ford Escape.
Do you believe these 5 photographs are true and accurate depictions of the way the vehicle looked on the driveway at 338 Maple that evening, sir?
Objection, leading.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get a hold of my witness list. Could you re-ask the question?
Yes, Your Honor. Do these 5 photographs truly and accurately depict the way the vehicle looked at 338 Maple Street on the evening of November 21, 21?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, foundational, the witness may answer.
Yes.
Move to admit 67, well, 67 and 68 are already in. So move to admit 93, 102, 103, and permission to publish all 5.
Objection. Relevancy.
Noted, overruled. The exhibits are received, permission to publish granted, specifically 67, 93, 68, 102, 103. I realize some may have been received previously, but to be thorough, I wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson, 67 you testified was an overview photograph?
Yeah, it's an overall photograph
Objection
of the.
leading.
Overruled, they're now being shown to the jury. It's proper, it's foundational as well. Go ahead.
Yes, this is a overall photograph showing the location of the vehicle, but specifically also showing the front end damage of the vehicle.
All right. Next, 93. Please describe.
A close-up.
Overruled, go ahead.
A close-up of the damage that has been sustained on the front hood area, bumper area of the red Ford Escape.
Just trying to get a better
Next
view.
is 68.
This is better.
Objection.
Overruled.
Mid-range photograph showing the damage front end
I think we know where everything leaked out.
damage, specifically from a reference point of the front passenger corner of the vehicle.
I observe on the bottom of that photograph there appears to be some liquid substance on the ground. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I
Objection
do.
leading.
Overruled, foundational. The witness may answer.
Do you remember seeing that substance that night?
Yes.
Were you able to tell what it was?
Objection speculative.
Overruled, based upon his training and experience, he may answer.
Not specifically what type of fluid it is, but some kind of engine compartment fluid.
From this vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Number 102, please.
A mid-range of the driver front quarter panel.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm going to make it all the way through all of this because, I don't know, I know it's not totally related, but the people who passed away on the bridge near me last week, people keep watching that video over and over again and forgetting that there are still people, I think they're still recovering people. So every time you're watching that bridge go down, you're watching their last seconds. Let me tie it in here. This is still lit. It's still lit up where that person was celebrating the Christmas and Christmas parade and was wearing it. And I think you need to appreciate that is
also showing what I describe as a white headband on the broken driver door mirror.
Is that illuminated in some fashion?
Objection
Yes.
leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer. Just a reminder to wait until I fully rule on the objection before you answer.
I apologize. Yes.
How was it illuminated?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
It has white LEDs that are within the cloth and they're blinking on and off.
Okay. And then last would be 103.
Objection.
Please describe. Oh, I'm sorry, he objected.
Overruled. Go ahead.
An overall from the further into the driveway showing the back end, the rear end of the red Ford Escape.
All right. Now, after these photographs were collected on Maple Street, did there come a time where you planned to move the vehicle?
Yes. Part of the process in arriving at a scene, there are 3 steps. There's a scene approach, scene assessment, and a scene processing strategy. So the scene approach starts with the moment I receive a call and start thinking about what evidence might be present, just knowing the limited facts or the limited information that I have during the call. When I arrive on scene, I do a scene assessment. So I did a walkthrough of this particular vehicle, around it and including the property. determine from that what my processing strategy would be. So going back to answer the question, my thought and my processing strategy this particular night was to collect anything that would be fragile in nature off of the vehicle and then get it transported to a more environmentally friendly secured facility to continue processing in the subsequent days.
Okay, so that's a little complicated, but I think anybody in EMS, police, his expertise area, fire, can appreciate that thought process. You're given information, usually limited, often mistaking information when you arrive. For EMS, it might be scene safety, number of people around or involved, whether it's a trauma or medical situation, if they should need more resources, like is there something else going on, and so forth. For fire folks, it's something like they have a call for some sort of structure fire or some sort of fire. They go, they arrive, the first thing they do is what they see is smoke showing. We have a middle of the group if it's attached houses, or we have a single family, smoke is showing from this area or that area, and just a very cursory from what they're seeing driving up while the engine's hooking up to a hydrant, etc. I'm sure it's the same for police. I probably wouldn't have as much expertise in that area, but I'm sure it's the same. Even, and I actually have the, it's on YouTube, the radio traffic. The bridge incident here, the Francis Scott Key Bridge incident, came out as a possible car in the water. How that expanded, wow, I'm so glad that's not me anymore. It was my medic called out on the first call. I'm sure they changed it to Medic 5 as they're the expert in the dive area. But, whoa. And there's a lot of calls like that I could cite. But he did a very good job explaining that in a very concise way, much better than I did.
Was that for your comfort or for some scientific reason?
Objection. Speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled.
It's not.
The witness may answer.
It was very cold that night, so it was difficult to process. It was very windy, but it was for a purely scientific standpoint of doing the necessary steps of collecting whatever I needed and I deemed fragile. Collect that stuff, and then let's get it into an enclosed trailer and transport to a secure facility that's nearby.
So what items, if you recall, did you remove that you had deemed fragile?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
There were first some items that were in the yards or yard of this particular residence, some examination gloves, and a winter hat that was in the backyard. So those items were collected. Of particular interest on the vehicle was the headband that was around the driver door mirror that was broken. So that was important to collect because during transport, that most likely would have fallen off. So that's what I'm talking about, fragile evidence.
Okay. So that item was removed?
Correct.
What about the front bumper? We saw that laying on the driveway. Was that secured in some fashion?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, to make transport easy, the bumper would have had to be lifted up with bungee cords and resecured. Otherwise, as the tow company is moving the vehicle, the bumper would just continue to go underneath the vehicle, further damaging or maybe even eliminating or getting rid of physical evidence that might be on that bumper.
So were you the person that secured that front bumper?
I was there and I assisted with the tow company.
Okay. Where'd you take it?
So it was taken from this residence and it was taken to Waukesha County Sheriff's Office secured facility.
Is that nearby here in Waukesha?
Yes.
Okay. Ask Madam Clerk if you could turn off the display, please, and I'm going to present to the witness only another series of photographs, starting with 105.
Go
His
ahead.
behavior. Oh.
Do you know how many?
Ew. His behavior. Oh, this is taking so long. Now we're gonna go do more photographs. What do you got? Something else to do? Clean your long fingernails? Gross. I know people do gross things all the time. I do gross things all the time, but gross.
8.
Sequential?
Yes, 105 through 112.
Thank you.
Objection. Relevancy.
Oh, look at his. Look at him.
Well, I haven't seen them yet, so I'll have to wait, but
Look at
I
him.
can put them up and then I'll make a ruling.
Poke his eyeball.
I
Look.
think we're ready on our end. We're just waiting for Madam Clerk.
Oh, sorry. I'll leave it alone. You hit it. We just mixed each other twice.
105.
All right.
There.
Given what I see on the screen, the objection is overruled.
Okay. And, Your Honor, for the sake of time, I'm just going to ask the witness to look through these photos just as if he had them in front of him, and then I'll ask some foundational questions. So 105 is on the screen. Do you see it, sir?
Yes.
Do you need more time to review that photo?
No.
106, please.
Yes.
Do you need more time to review that photo?
Objection
No.
leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
107,
Yes.
do you need more time?
No.
108,
Yes.
do you need more time?
No.
109,
Yes.
need more time?
No.
110,
Yes, I recognize and I don't need more time.
111,
I recognize and I don't need more time.
and 112.
I recognize that photo and don't need any more time.
Where were each of these photos taken?
Each of these photos were taken at that secure facility that where Waukesha County Sheriff's Office, their secured facility. This is indoors at that facility.
Okay. And do you believe each of these photos is a true and accurate representation of what the vehicle looked like once you towed it to the secure facility?
Yes.
I'll move for admission of 105 through 112 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection.
Noted. Exhibits 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, and 112 are all received. Permission to publish granted as to all.
So in this photograph, sir, is the, what's the condition of the front bumper, please?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Foundational. The witness may answer.
The front bumper is secured in somewhat, should be its original position with those bungee cords that we previously talked about.
Okay. Next, 106, please. Please describe.
Overall photograph, the front driver's quarter panel, including showing the hood damage.
Was there an effort by you to try and match the pieces of the bumper to the frame of the body, or is that just the way it came together?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled.
It's what he did.
Go ahead. You may answer.
At this time, I was not trying to physically match anything together. It was just for the purpose of securing it for transport.
Okay. What is the position of the driver's side window in this photograph, sir?
The window is down.
Is that the way you found it?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled. The witness may answer. responded to the scene where the vehicle was located and can testify based upon his knowledge.
107, please. Please describe.
An overall photograph from the point view of the front passenger side of the vehicle.
Next, 108.
Objection.
Overrule.
Darrell really did use this as a battering ram. He just plowed through that parade with no regard whatsoever. And there's no way that you have missed that you've done something.
Please describe.
An overview of the front of the vehicle, including the front passenger quarter panel and the front passenger door.
What position was the front passenger window in?
Oh, important.
Down.
Is that the way you found it?
Yes.
Okay. 109.
So,
Please describe.
An overall photograph of the passenger side of the vehicle. Including in this photograph is the front quarter panel, the front passenger door, and the rear passenger door.
the only thing missing here is a goblin. Troll, stupid, liar. Ugh. The number of lies this man told. I have dealt with a lot of people from prison, transported people in prison, worked closely with prisons, long distance transports with prisons for people incarcerated. And from what I've learned from them, speaking with them, things are very important, such as family support, letters, relationships. They talk about these things. And, you know, maybe not all the time, but in and amongst small groups. And he must have just... I can't imagine that they did not laugh at him every single day for being outed for every single lie he told. Ugh. Disgusting.
And, along the front passenger door and the rear passenger door, do you see anything remarkable?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Spanning the length of both doors is quite a significant scratch.
Have you seen scratches like that before in processing motor vehicles, sir?
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
I have.
What is that consistent with, please?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Coming into contact with another item.
Thank you. Number 110. Please describe.
I recognize this. We had these in our ambulances. It's true. It's true. They still use the ambulances after they were shot at. I can't even lie. And people would ask, what's that? And you would have to tell them because they're... What are you going to tell them? What are you going to tell them? It's from a bow and arrow? It's a bullet hole. And there was one particular, and they used it as a reserve, to be honest, but we still used it, and it had three bullet holes from the same incident. The back window of one of the doors that opens up, one of the side compartments that slides open with a plastic kind of door, that had a hole, or it was gone. I don't remember if it was gone or had a hole in it. And then right above where we would sit behind the patient, there was a big hole. People say, what are those? Bullet holes. We're lucky nobody was killed in that particular incident.
An overall photograph showing the rear of the passenger side of the vehicle, specifically noting that the rear passenger window, that window is not down, it was actually shattered,
Okay.
broken.
So one bullet hole,
And also
two bullet
showing in
holes.
this photograph are 2 apparent fired bullet defects.
Okay, I have some other photos more specific to that in a minute. Thank you. 111.
So 3, 1, 2, 3.
Objection.
Overruled.
Please describe.
Is that a bullet defect there?
An overall photograph from the vantage point of the rear passenger side of the vehicle.
That one is for
And
sure.
then 112, please.
Objection.
Overruled.
An overall of the vehicle from vantage point, rear driver side of the side.
And this is the tint that he's so proud of. The bubbled. Looks like a job he did himself. Is that it? Is that it? Or did they do that? It for sure is terrible.
Vehicle.
Is the rear driver's side window, what position is it in, please?
It's
That is
down.
up.
It's up.
And is that the way you
Rear,
found it?
rear driver side.
Yes.
It looks
That's
like
what-
there's substance on the exterior of the vehicle on the driver's side. Do you see what I'm referring to, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I do.
Do you know what that item or substance was?
Objection speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled. Based upon his training and experience and his personal observation of the vehicle, he may answer.
Not knowing what specific fluid that might be, I did do a presumptive test to see if it's possibly blood.
Okay.
All tests that I did of that liquid that's on the driver's side came back negative for the
Okay.
possible presence of blood.
And was it sprayed along the most of the driver's side of the vehicle?
Objection speculative.
Overruled.
Yes.
Maybe mud over. This is what they're talking about right here.
Now, I'd like to move on, sir, and ask you,
Loud.
did you do an interior inspection of the vehicle
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
and an exterior inspection of the vehicle?
Correct.
I'd like to highlight some specific areas, starting with the interior of the vehicle. Would you have processed the entire passenger compartment and cargo space of this vehicle?
Yes.
And what types of things would you have been looking for, sir?
Based on my former experience, looking for surface types that might contain potential DNA evidence. So specifically, anything that's in the vehicle that would have been handled to control the vehicle or handled in a repetitive manner or with some kind of force. So for example, the steering wheel, the gear shifter, those items were swabbed by myself for the potential of DNA. We also looked at surfaces within the vehicle and processed those for the possible presence of latent fingerprints.
Do you remember locating an object on the front passenger seat of the vehicle?
Yes.
I'm going to ask that we display to the witness only Exhibit 117. Do you recognize what's shown in Exhibit 117, sir?
Yes, there's a hat that's on the front passenger seat cushion.
Is that the way the object looked when you found it?
Yes.
Move to admit 117, permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 117 is received. Permission to publish granted.
Could you please, it's a touch screen in front of you, circle the hat that you just described for the jury? And then to your left, sir, on the witness stand, before you took the stand, I placed an item up there that's been marked as exhibit number 87. You see that on the table there?
Yes.
Can you identify exhibit 87?
Yes, this is the winter style hat that I collected from that front passenger seat.
Okay. Like to show another photograph to the witness, exhibit 118, please.
Objection.
Overruled, go ahead.
Do you recognize the object in exhibit 118?
I do.
Do you believe this photo is a true and accurate representation of the object as you found it on the vehicle?
I do.
Objection. Speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled. Your answer may stand again. Just wait till I rule on the objection, please.
Does it look like what you saw?
Move to admit 118, permission to publish.
Exhibit 118 is received, permission to publish granted.
Please describe.
This is a close-up photograph of the clothing items that were pinned to the windshield by the crumpled hood, and it was being held in place by that hood being pinning the items against the windshield, as well as that wiper arm.
Okay.
This is what he was saying. How do you know it's on the inside or the outside of the vehicle? It was on the hood, it's on the windshield. No, it's in the cowl area. Okay, the only reason why I even know that has a word is because I had an old car. I had a lot of old cars. Obviously, I'm old, so I've had a lot of old cars. But I had an old Mustang. The cowl was damaged. I learned what the word was. Like rocker.
Did you eventually remove these items?
Yes.
What did you find them to be?
It was a detachable hood from a jacket, as well as a winter hat.
Okay, so that's
And
a
can
snap
you just point out on the touch screen which is which?
hat.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
That's the hood portion, and that's the hat portion.
Okay, thank you.
Ripped it right off that lady's head.
Did you find any U.S. mail or paperwork inside the vehicle?
Objection. Relevant.
Overruled. The witness may
We know from subsequent information that Darrell was not allowed in his mother's house. There was a restraining order because he had used a pew-pew to pew-pew at his nephew and a friend over a fight over a phone. This toddler goblin just cannot behave in any way, shape, or form at all appropriately. I mean, like, I deal with people who have mental deficiencies and delays of all sorts. They all know not to pick up a shovel and start whacking at somebody, but Darrell, I would question this. I mean, what is wrong in this person? So the mail, that's because he lived in that thing. He lived in that thing. Mail, that's his home.
answer.
Yes, I did.
Stick a number on that thing, it's his address.
Were there any names associated with the U.S. mail or paperwork inside the vehicle?
Objection. Relevant.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes.
What was that name?
Darrell E. Brooks, Jr.
Was there an address, if you can recall?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
There was, but I don't exactly recall it.
Sure. Also on the table next to you, sir, is your report that I've marked as exhibit number 90. Do you see that?
Yes.
Wait. Placed on the table.
Go Go ahead, Attorney Hopper.
Well, objection. How did it get on the table?
Somebody carried it up
Objections
there.
Noted, it's overruled. Record will reflect that there's a copy of a crime lab report. It has an exhibit sticker, number 90, with the case number of this case. Handing it back to the witness. Go ahead, you may question.
How did it get on the table?
So, what? I can't with him today. Goblin. Troll. Face diaper for the poop coming out your mouth. Nobody's allowed to approach the witness and hand them the object or the report or the evidence or the whatever. Because you can't. Because you have to be shackled to your desk. Like the animal that you are. Oh my God. You know, I don't have to put this kind of leash on my dog. I can walk her without a leash. She is trained that way. You are not even trained to sit. My God. It's so sad. It is ridiculous. Oh my God. How did it get there? There's no fear. There's no fear. Ugh.
Placed it on the table.
Attorney Hopper indicated she placed it there.
When did that happen?
When the jury wasn't there.
Did you author this report, sir?
Yes, I did.
If you review the report, would you be able to see the address for Darrell Brooks that was noted in the paperwork from the inside of the SUV?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
He has no valid something.
Yes, I would.
Please do that, sir.
Objection.
Overruled.
There's no question.
Grounds for the overrule.
There's no question.
The
Telling-
witness may answer.
Grounds for the overrule.
Go ahead, sir.
The address for the pieces of mail that I recovered was 4014 North 19th Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53209.
Thank you.
Objection. That should be strike. When he asked the question, he said he didn't recall. So how can you force somebody to recall?
The witness's recollection was refreshed through the use of his report, which he indicated he documented the address. Your objection is noted. It's overruled. The answer will stand. Go ahead. Next question, please.
Yes, and actually, if I could back up 1 minute and ask Ms. Gussie to put back up 117. Got to ask a question about 117.
Go ahead.
And if we could display it,
You can do
please,
what y'all
Madam
wanna
Clerk.
Nobody got to answer no questions.
Mr. Brooks, please refrain from interrupting. You'll have an opportunity to ask
I
your
have an
questions
objection
on
of
cross.
how stuff got to the table without my knowledge. That should be
Not
known.
my knowledge.
That should at least be noted for the record.
It's my knowledge.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
Let me translate that. Troll, troll, goblin, goblin. I'm in control. I'm not in control. Narcissist, narcissist. Did I get that right? Did I miss anything? Don't think so.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Go ahead, Attorney Hopper.
So that needs to stop happening.
In
It needs
addition
be
to
fair.
the hat,
Needs to be
All right, I'm gonna
fear.
excuse the jury.
No fear. No fear. No fear.
Can't keep doing stuff without.
Goblin, stomp.
Should be a fair trial. That's my
Goblin,
right.
stomp.
Shouldn't be able to do things without my
Comment
knowledge
inappropriately in front of the jury.
and then pass it off to the jury like that's fair. They deserve to know that too.
No fear. Fear, fear. This is exhausting. Oh, did he just slam something on the desk?
Since the jury's out, I'll make a record.
Oh, there he goes. Oh my God. Look at how dark his eyes just turned. Like the soul just left his body. He's not even angry anymore. This is the blind rage that he had when he beats on his girlfriend and tries to intimidate. This is it. This is the, like, he's got no soul. This is awful. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry, I gotta have this one. Oh my God. I think I got it. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's just shocking.
Mr. Brooks, you are well aware that the reason
consent to being
documents
called that
are
name.
being put on the
I don't consent to being
stand
called that name.
are because this court indicated it would limit the movement of the parties due to your custodial status to keep things fair.
And I
You are
merely asked, how
attempting-
did it get there?
Sir, do not
I'm not
interrupt
entitled-
me, or you will
I'm not
forfeit your
entitled
right
to
to
know
be
how I got
present
there?
in this courtroom.
So
Do
you
not
holding me in
interrupt
contempt?
me.
Are you holding me in contempt?
I'm gonna make a record.
Are you holding me in contempt?
Oh,
I'm not answering your questions.
So then you're not holding me in contempt.
Do not interrupt me again, or you will go to the other courtroom.
Under what lawful law?
All right, he's interrupted me once again. We're gonna clear the courtroom.
Thank you. At
He's
least
being
she's stuck
disrespectful.
to
I'll make
it.
a record
There
once
you go.
Unless you can promise me right now
Oh,
that you'll let
God,
me
now
make my
she's
record
backpedaling.
without you interrupting me, sir.
You gonna make
You know, it's the waffling, I think, that we get so frustrated with. It is net positive, I think. But right now, this is a pure example of her waffling the punishment for his behavior, okay? The fact that she has to treat him like a toddler in this situation, in this setting, is alarming. Okay, he has the right to defend himself. He has a right to a trial. He has the jury. His behavior is redunculous. I mean, there's nothing that explains this. And she's trying to equitably make a fair and trial and presentation to the jury that he is not the buffoon that he is presenting himself as. But she said, don't interrupt me. Number two, if you interrupt, then you're going to go to the other courtroom. He interrupts. Okay, he's interrupted. Now here comes the waffling. There is the problem. I think I've said it. I think the horse is dead.
your record? You can make your record.
You can make your
Please don't
record.
interrupt me.
Don't hold me in contempt.
I've never said any such thing.
Removing me from the courtroom, Your Honor, is essentially holding me in contempt.
All right, no, you're forfeiting your right to be present.
No. I think I see, I'm not a lawyer, but tell me if I'm wrong. I think I see a clear difference. She's removing him from the courtroom into a setting that is controlled, where she can control his interruptions. If it were contempt, there is some sort of weird thing that I've seen on the stuff on YouTube that I've watched, where there is an opportunity for them to come back and say, I'm sorry, my behavior was inappropriate, and for that contempt charge, or for it to end. The charge ends. When I was held in contempt, the same thing occurred. I was removed from the courtroom. I wasn't taken to a cell or anything, but I sat there for hours. At the end of it, there had been information given to the judge, and he said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. The information I had was wrong. You are not in contempt. That is what happened for me. But had I come back in the courtroom and there still would have been not that information given to that judge, I would have had to either apologize or make some kind of, something to make it go away. It's kind of like a timeout. If she holds him in contempt, he would have to go to where? Jail? What are they going to do? Jail him more than they're jailing him now? So that's not even really on the table for her. Gagging him, however, is. Illinois versus Allen, as far as I heard, you can put the tape on his mouth. Please.
Under Illinois versus Allen.
I will.
I'm going to start talking, and if he interrupts, then I will close this courtroom, and he will be taken to the next courtroom. Mr. Brooks, you are well aware that the court made some pretrial rulings related to whether there would be, they can stay in, I haven't closed it yet, he's not interrupting me, whether the parties could approach the witness stand. And I did that because you're in custody and I'm not going to allow you to approach the witness stand while in custody. That is why various precautions have taken place to limit, frankly, that from happening. Throughout this trial, there was one instance at the very beginning of the case where I allowed the state to approach a witness. I corrected that. That hasn't happened since. We've had bailiffs take items up to the witness stand, or the items have been given to the witnesses, or they've been placed on the witness stand. That's proper. There is nothing wrong about that. Nobody's trying to pull a fast one over you. No one is doing something that's not permitted by this court, or frankly under the rules of decorum and courtesy or the presentation of evidence in this case. Frankly, from my perspective, sir, your attempts and your comments are to try to dig in at this jury and to somehow create doubt about the presentation of this case or the fairness of these proceedings without the party, meaning the state, having an opportunity to refute, explain, or correct it. I've taken the jury out at this point to admonish you that any further mumbling under your breath or not recognizing when I uphold or sustain an objection, that I will take as a disrupting interruption meant to disrupt the proceedings. I'm not holding you in contempt. I'm well aware that that's one of my options. I choose not to do it for the reasons that I've stated on the record previously. All right, you can forfeit your right to be present at any point in time during this trial by your conduct under Illinois versus Allen. When it is disruptive, when it does not follow the simple rules of courtesy and decorum, I draw your attention once again to SCR Chapter 62, which has been previously provided to you, which is under the statute there. These constant mumbling and interruptions during the proceedings. I haven't made a record of them today, but I will now. Started at 9:01, then there was 5 at 9:02, 3 at 9:03, 4 at 9:04, 1 at 9:05, 2 at 9:05, 1 at 9:06, 3 at 9:08, again at 9:17, 9:27, 10:31, 1:05. There was talking over by you at 2:03, 5 interruptions at 2:14, 2:15, 2:17, at 2:19, audible muttering, 2:31, 2:33, what I would describe as inappropriate, like muttering under your breath, 2:35, at 3:06, there was a hilarious comment.
Can we just point out, it is somebody's job to write down this garbage?
At 3:11, there was what I would describe as arguing about the muttering and the irony of it all. At 3:12, there were 4 interruptions. At 3:37, more 4:09, 4:10, more mumbling. At 4:11, twice, and at 4:12, 9 different times. So I think I've made an ample record of the disruptions today. I've been abundantly patient with you. I've, again, as I stated earlier, I've even limited how I tell these things to the jury about how to disregard, and I simply say the jury is to disregard comments and statements made by the parties or the lawyers, as those are not evidence. So I'm warning you, do not interrupt again. If this jury comes back, or when they come back and you do that, then you will be removed and you will forfeit your right to be present for the examination of this witness. Let's bring the jury back in.
Well, you might as well remove me then, because
Remove me then,
what you're doing
because I'm not gonna.
not fair. I can't
I'm
even
not gonna
rebut
stop.
what you're saying. I didn't interrupt you. I let you make your incorrect record.
Your incorrect record.
Mr. Brooks, I'm bringing the jury out and we're continuing. We're going to get through these witnesses.
And I'm not stopping you
Through
from
your
doing that.
behavior, you're not going to delay these proceedings today.
I'm not trying
We're
to
gonna
delay the
continue.
proceedings, so
Yes,
I wish
you
you
are.
would stop being incorrect on the record and saying what I'm trying to do if you don't know that. You don't know what I'm
If
trying to
bringing
do.
the
You
jury
don't
out,
know
I'm
that.
not gonna argue with you.
Then don't. Because I'm not arguing with you either. I'm stating facts.
You're raising your voice.
Really?
It's very
Because I'm
angry tone,
tired of you
and
always
it's
making a
yelling
record.
at me.
You're making a record of me trying to look bad. I know what you're trying to do. It's not gonna work.
I'm making a record of what's accurately
You're
being
making
done
a
in the
record of
courtroom.
incorrect statements. That's what you're doing. You're not making a record of
Mr.
not being
Gross, I'm
able.
advising you to be quiet because the jury's coming back out.
You're advising me to be quiet. Is you telling me to
Is
be
you
quiet?
telling me-
respectful
is
when the
you
Are
jury's
you
telling
telling
out.
me to be quiet, or are you asking me?
Thug Goblin. Here we go. That's it. Thug Goblin. You are not. Listen to the way he speaks to her. The condescending, demanding, trying to be threatening. He is a straight monster. Ugh.
I'm asking you and advising
Okay.
you.
Thank you for correcting that. Because
Thank
don't
you for
nobody
correcting
tell me
that.
what to do.
Don't
I don't tell
nobody
nobody
tell
else what
me.
to do.
I'd appreciate
We're all
you
we're
lowering
all
your tone
adults
of
in here.
voice
I've
and
never
not yell at
told
me,
you to
sir.
do anything at all.
Sir, I'd
Prove it.
appreciate if your tone.
Prove it with subject matter jurisdiction that you're all adults because you are not an adult. Ugh.
Of voice would change.
I would appreciate if you would ask me.
Ask me.
I'm a grown man with grown kids. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you asked me to do.
Shut
Not
up.
Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive.
disruptive.
Come on, man. Stop.
Come on,
Just
stop
it.
Stop it.
Jury's coming out.
All rise for the jury.
Not gonna work. I'm supposed to be scared of getting removed or something.
Scared of getting removed or something. I'm supposed to be scared. God, what a... Ugh. I'm sorry. I can't with it. Look at him. Look at his face. Could you imagine what the bottom of his face looks like without this on? I wish we could, like, maybe somebody who's really good with pictures could, like, remove this and we could estimate what that would look like, because I imagine it is just ugly.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Statement continue its examination of this witness. I believe we're on Exhibit 117.
Yes, we had 117. Madam Clerk, would you please turn the display back on? Mr.
Good.
Johnson, were there other items on the front passenger seat besides the blue winter hat?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
I do recall a cell phone being present on that front passenger seat.
Do you remember what kind of cell phone?
An iPhone.
iPhone.
I also see some items that look like maybe headphones or charging cable, something like that. Do you see that, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Foundational. The witness may answer. The exhibits previously been received.
Objection speculative.
Overruled.
That's
I did see that.
speculative.
Do you remember something like that on the front passenger seat?
Yes.
Okay. And how about on the floorboard of the front passenger seat? Is there an item?
That is a television set. Because when you live in your car, apparently you need it. Oh my God. Oh. Fun fact, I don't have a TV. Not at all in my house anywhere.
There, sir.
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
What do you remember that item was?
A TV.
Okay. And to the left of the TV, the white colored object?
I don't recall what that is.
Okay. But this is the exact way the passenger seat looked when you recovered the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now if we could please go to Exhibit 116 and put up for the witness only.
Look at him rocking back and forth.
Sir, do you see Exhibit 116 in front of you?
I do.
Do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
Do you believe this to be a true and accurate depiction of the interior of the SUV?
Yes.
Move to admit 116, permission to publish.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 116 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
What's in the photo of 116, please?
This is an overview of the rear passenger seat. That rear passenger compartment contained several clothing items and miscellaneous items.
Okay. And was the condition of the back seat like this when you found the vehicle, sir?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer based upon his knowledge of recovering the vehicle from the scene and his training and experience.
Yes.
Now for the witness only, I'm going to please ask Ms. Gussie to put up 113, 114, and 115 for his review.
Nobody's paying attention to him. Look at him.
113 up?
Yes.
Okay, do you recognize that item?
I do.
Okay. Next, 114. Do you recognize 114?
Yes.
And 115, do you recognize 115? There it is.
I do.
Okay. Do you believe these three photographs truly and accurately depict the vehicle, these areas of the vehicle, sir?
Yes.
Move to admit 113, 114, and 115. Permission to publish.
Exhibits 113, 114, and 115 are all received. Permission to publish granted.
Please. Oh.
Jury would let me know when the jury box monitors are on. All right, thank you very much.
All right. Please describe 113, sir.
Ooh.
That is an apparent fired bullet defect.
Can't fill that with epoxy. Yeah, that went all the way through. This is the inside. And that went all the way through. Amazing.
That's in the windshield of the Ford Escape.
Is that the rear view mirror on the left side of the picture?
Yes, this photograph would be from the inside looking through the windshield.
Were you able to tell the path of travel for the bullet?
Objection.
Yes.
Speculative.
Please describe.
It's
Overruled.
not
You may answer.
speculative. The way a car window breaks, the way a windshield breaks is different from your windows. The way a windshield breaks, the way a window breaks, there is certain shattering or cracking that happens on each side of it. That's the way it is. I always taught my paramedic students to document that it is a opening or a hole or fossa or whatever they're going to call it. Entry and exit is an expert level testimony, so if you understand those things or are trained to them, that's fine. But if there's two holes, one is entrance and one is exit, but don't try to say, because if you're wrong, if those experts prove you wrong, your document could mess up the whole thing. Also, I want to say, considering what happened not 5 miles away from me, when that bridge went down and your car starts sinking in the water, if you are still conscious, and please let that be the case, the pressure from the inside and the outside of the car has to be equal before the door can open, so the panic will set in. Your seatbelt should come off. You should purchase something or buy something that can break a window. There's different items that do that, but your seatbelt buckle is an item that can break a window. I don't think it's the most efficient or effective way, but it's a possibility. Please think of those things. Those accidents can happen. I am actually going to take a quick break. Pause. Okay. Should be going.
Yes. The fired bullet that caused this defect most likely came through that rear passenger window that was shattered and entered the vehicle and then exited the vehicle through the windshield.
So that's a exit damage that we're seeing there.
Yes.
How can you be sure?
Windshields have laminated glass, and so the directionality of a fired bullet going through laminate glass, there's an indicative laminate tag, we call it. So that shows the direction of the fired bullet.
Okay.
There you go.
Number 114, please. Please describe.
Is he crying?
That's an apparent fired bullet defect. I call this a striking defect. That's on the roof rail of the passenger side of the vehicle.
Okay. Why do you call it a striking defect?
It didn't penetrate any part of the vehicle. It was more of a glancing kind of ricochet.
Okay. And then number 115. And if you could zoom in on that back left. Yep, thank you. Please describe.
This is an apparent fired bullet defect. I call this a perforating defect because it actually went through the exterior door skin and went all the way through into the inside of the vehicle.
Did you ever find the fired round in the vehicle?
Yes, I did recover a fired bullet and fired bullet fragment from the rear cargo area of the vehicle.
Okay. Was there any evidence that that bullet traveled any further than the cargo area of the SUV?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled based upon the witness's training and experience and examination of the vehicle, he may answer.
No, the bullet stayed in that rear cargo area.
Okay.
So it's not
Now,
speculative.
aside from examining the interior and the exterior of the vehicle at ground level, did you attempt to look underneath the vehicle?
Yes, the first processing strategy, if we go back to that, I wanted to get everything collected from all sides of the vehicle and inside of the vehicle before putting it on a vehicle lift to examine the undercarriage of the vehicle.
So you did do that.
Yes.
What kinds of things are you looking for on the undercarriage?
Looking for anything that shouldn't be normally present on the undercarriage of the vehicle. So I was looking for any hairs, fibers, any potential biological fluids such as blood.
Did you find any such objects?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, he may answer.
Yes, I did.
Did you collect those items?
Yes, I did.
You had described for us earlier swabbing of the steering wheel on the interior of the vehicle. Do you recall that?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
How do you go about swabbing a steering wheel, sir?
Objection, what's the relevancy?
Overruled, the witness may answer.
The best way to collect DNA evidence from a surface is to use a two-swab technique. The first swab is a swab that's slightly moistened with deionized water, and basically swabbing the surface and then following up that swab with a dry swab. So it's a two-swab process, a wet swab followed by a dry swab, and that becomes one item of evidence.
Same thing for the gear shift?
Yes.
What do you do with these swabs after you collect them?
I put them into the appropriate container and then seal that container, write my description of that particular item of evidence, and eventually that evidence is transferred to a unit at the crime laboratory for analysis. In this particular case, those items, anything for DNA, is going to be transferred to the DNA analysis unit.
Did that happen?
Yes, that did.
And how about the hat, States Exhibit 87? Did that get transferred to another unit for further analysis, to your knowledge?
Yes, so any clothing item that's
Hold on, there was an objection. Grounds?
Relevancy.
Overruled, the
Look at
witness
him!
may continue
What
answering.
an idiot!
Clothing items that are worn by individuals
God.
are a really good source of transfer of DNA. So yes, I collected that hat and it was transferred to the DNA analysis unit.
is up there?
Your report exhibit 90, did you believe that to be a true and accurate narration or summary, I should say, of your work in this case, sir?
Yes, I do.
Move to admit number 90, Your Honor.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled. Exhibit 90 is received.
I don't have any other questions then, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Cross-exam, please.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna hold on this. I got 15 minutes before a doctor's appointment, so I'm going to hold on this. Is what I was looking at here, my schedule, and get back to this. Like and comment, and I will do this as soon as my appointment's over.